Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Scott Halverson, and today we are talking about Gloomhaven again. This game right here. Whoop. Yeah, it's a doozy. We are around 3. We have played 3 times now, and I would say that we are getting to be adepts at it. Not even adepts. We're journeymen. We're apprentices. Now we're apprentices. Although we have no teachers, so I don't know what's going to happen there. But anyway, we are getting along with the game fairly well. We had only 3 players this week. One of our other players could not make it, so we did with 3. But I will show you, if you watch to the end of the video, the characters that we're using and what they're good for, if I can describe it successfully. So anyway, let's talk about episode 3. Excuse me. Round 3, we decided that we were not going to be doing a game scenario. They were incredibly challenging, and not that we didn't want challenging. We just wanted to try another aspect of the game. Something they put in there for a reason, and I think we've discovered what that reason was. Round 3, we decided that we were going to do random dungeons. Now, they have a couple decks of cards in the game that you can go ahead and flip up one card and flip up another card, and then when you flip up one card, it tells you what kind of dungeon you're doing, and then what kind of room you're in, and then you flip up another card that tells you what kind of monsters are in that room. And you do that 3 times. And I tell you what, it worked out really well. We got to meet new monsters. Some were good, some were horrifying. And we got to combat them. And so that was fun. We learned that a lot. And I know I haven't gone through a lot of description on how we play the game, and learning curve, it's a learning curve. It's a big game, so there's a lot to absorb. But once you understand the basics of a few types of games, this one's not too hard to learn. And I know I'm getting a little off subject about how we did, but I want to tell you, if you know how to play a deck building game, because there's a little bit of deck building in this game, and you ever played a tabletop RPG, and you ever played a legacy game, which, I mean, most of us have, if you're watching game videos like this. And if you haven't, a legacy game is a game that you play and the rules change, and not necessarily change, but they do change as you go, and you also get to name things and make decisions that will affect the game, the way the game plays forever. And then deck building games are games where you have a deck of cards that you play off of, and you get to add cards to that deck, and which could improve or lower the chances of success at the game. And then the tabletop RPG, which is fairly self-explanatory. But just in case it's not, you are playing a character in a game, and your goal is to get that character, keep him alive to complete a certain set of goals. Okay? So moving on from that. Scenario 3, we met, like I said, we met some new creatures, which were absolutely wonderful. We met these things called Imps. I think they were called Night Imps. And it was kind of funny because they're really low-level, low-hit point monsters. And so we're like, oh yeah, we're going to group together, and then we're just going to smash them, you know. We're going to use big spells and just do AE effects and destroy them. Well, spoilers, just in case you haven't played this game. If you don't want to know what happens with the Imps, then skip past this section. Anyway, the Imps have a card that popped up on us. Now, we didn't read through all the cards. We never do. We just play, so we're surprised every time, right? But I went in to do an AE, and the Imps, when they draw their card for what they do for that turn, which is kind of random, they give a shield 5. Now, a shield 5 means the first 5 damage you do to each Imp is null and void. So they may only have 3 hit points. But now you got to do 8 hit points to kill them. And at our level, 8 hit points is a lot to ask for in an AE type situation if you haven't pre-planned that much damage. So needless to say, I didn't use that spell, and I did other things to just survive the round. But we did annihilate the Imps. We did fight some other stuff. I'm not going to tell you all the stuff because I don't want you guys to know everything about the game. But we did fight different types of groups. We fought what's called horrors, and then we forgot what's called like abyssal, I think was the other one. And all the creatures are interesting. They're all different. They all have their own little abilities, and they do different things, and combinations that you're just not necessarily expecting because we haven't fought them before. And so that was really fun. In the end, we only lost one character again. Of course, this is Scoundrel. The Scoundrel happens to be kind of the upfront damage, hurry up and just take out things one at a time, and loot, lots of looting. The Scoundrel can loot, which is getting the coins off the field, and they do that really well. So the Scoundrel gets out there and does his work. He just hits the grind, knows the grindstone, and goes. But he does wear out a lot because he only gets so many cards that you play with, and then every time you play, you have to get rid of a card, or you potentially have to get rid of a card. Every long rest, you get rid of a card, and which I'm not, like I said, I'm not going over all these details right now. I can make a video about that if we want, but for now, we're just going to go over some of the basics. And yeah, by the time you get to the third room, the Scoundrel's pretty much out of cards, and which means you're exhausted and then you don't get to play in the game anymore. So that's been interesting. We kind of planned for that this time, and we kind of built our characters up to be a little more tempo paced, I guess. We've learned that there's a tempo in this game that you have to follow. Otherwise, you play the game really hard, and you're out. You can't finish the game because you don't have enough cards by the time you hit the last rooms, because you have to do 3 rooms. 3 rooms every time. 3. And, well, maybe not every time, but at least through the dungeon, it was 3 rooms. And the scenarios we've done so far. But it's been really fun. It's been a really fun game, and we're slowly learning how each other play, and it's been a fun game. I really appreciated my time playing this, and I hope that in the future we can do more games like Gloomhaven and play more games with more people. That would be the ideal goal, is to get as many people as we can playing games like this here at the store as we can. So, anyway, we're moving on. We're moving on towards the characters that we're playing with this time, and we're going to show you a little video footage of them, and we'll talk about it and each of the characters. So, we're going to do that right now because this is really exciting. So, bear with me here. This might get a little exciting because, well... All right. So, we're going to move on to the Scoundrel. That would be the first character here. Scoundrel is this character. If we can get it a little bit zoomed in on her. You can see the mini there. That is a character that is really, really made to just go forward and do a lot of damage up front. She's a rogue. She just gets and she just gets out there and gets the job done. Now, she can't get the job done forever, so we need other characters to go along with her. And so far, I think we've got a pretty good team. Right now, we have this little feller. He is like a gadgeteer. He is a tinkerer. He's a quartal tinkerer. We'll get a little zoomed in on him. There we go. We got his little figure. Let's see if we can get a little picture of the figure there. And yes, all these come not painted, so I went ahead and just painted all these minis so we could enjoy the flavor a little more. I suppose I could go back and show you the Scoundrel too there. All right, so the Tinkerer, being my character, the one I play, he's a combination of a healer and a trap layer. He does a lot of AE, and he does a lot of healing. He's got tons and tons of range healing that he can heal people from range and keep people on the board as long as we can, which we found is important. My last character I was playing was a spellcaster. She did not have a lot of healing. She had a lot of killing spells, but that's not necessarily what you need. Sometimes you need to keep these guys alive. And we're going to get onto this guy. This guy is a Savas Craigheart. He is a big rock dude, as you can see. He's kind of fancy-smancy there. Yeah, he's pretty fun. He's pretty much our tank. You think about that. He runs in the room. He can take decent amounts of damage. And he can do lots of AE, and he's kind of a brute. He was part of the campaign this time, and so was the Scoundrel. The last one is the one that missed out this session. So yeah, the Craigheart, he's awesome. He's our tank. He can do lots of AE. He can break obstacles. He can create obstacles. He's a little bit of crowd control tank. He's kind of fun to have around. I like him. And then we move on to the Vermling, the Mind Thief. Now, it is really hard to say what the Mind Thief is really good at, other than disrupting. He does disrupt rather well, and he is a little bit of a murderer. We haven't really, like I said, we really haven't had a good chance to play with the Mind Thief. He's played in 2 sessions so far, and I don't know if we've found the Mind Thief's what's the word? The Mind Thief's stride yet, and what he's really excels at. I know he moves around a lot. He can do lots of stabby stab damage. He's up close, personal damage, which, you know, you're thinking as Mind Thief, you think he'd be more ranged and stuff like that, but no, he's more of a up close and in your face type of feller. Yeah, but you know what? I think once he's back into the game and we start getting through more characters and more sessions and stuff like that, I think we're going to learn that the Mind Thief is a very valuable character. Not that I don't think he is now, mind you. I just think that we haven't had tons of great success with him yet at this point because he hasn't played in the same amount of sessions as the rest of us have. Like I said, no fault to the player. It's busy, school's starting to begin up, and he is part of the school system, so he does a lot of stuff there. And he has been busy. But we do look forward to having him back hopefully for next Friday and playing a new game with us. So, yeah. That is the new characters that we are playing with. Like I said, I'm not going into tons of details with you on these. I will break down the characters at some point if you really want me to, and a more detailed video on each of the characters, and give you a rundown on what they are and what they're about. Because I kind of like doing videos on this game. It's really fun. The one other thing I want to talk about is I do 3D printing, and I have a 3D printer, a couple of them actually, but one of them that I'm specifically using to print terrain. And if you want to watch a video on that, I will posting a video on 3D printer stuff that I've been doing with my 3D printer and some of the terrain that I'm printing for Gloomhaven and some of the storage items. And I will be doing a video on that here coming up in the next week or so. So keep your eyes open for that if you want to know about the stuff that I'm printing for the Gloomhaven game. So anyway, as I said, we were successful. We completed a dungeon. We've got some check marks coming now. We've got other things going on. And life is getting pretty decent for our gangly little group of adventurers venturing through Gloomhaven. Anyway, if you like this video and you want to see more, well, make sure you stay tuned and keep your eye open. We will be posting more videos every week on Gloomhaven. So until next time, my name is Scott. You call me Guff, and we'll be signing off.